Hi, this video is not a review or a critique of Paava Kadhaigal. It is not a social commentary. It is not about the role of filmmakers in how they show violence. This is actually about what happens in our body in reaction to things we see on screen, especially the topics that were talked about in Paava Kadhaigal. Now, nomad for some of us, it was a very heavy week. Some of us felt a lump in our hearts. Some of us felt a deep clenching in the butt, maybe even in the vaginal area. Some of our cores just shrank, it froze. Some others had a racing heartbeat. These are just some of and for some others, it felt like their whole body was on fire. Now, this is what our bodies have stored as collective trauma as a result of being brown bodies having lived around patriarchy. Whether or not your house was a safe space or not, and whether or not your physical boundaries were violated, like in the film or not, this is embedded in my body. This is collective trauma that my body carries from my mother and grandmother and generations of brown bodies living in patriarchy. So it is my fervent hope that we can understand that there actually is not a defined and well-defined line between the collective and the individual. And a lot of times in trauma work, we place the emphasis on the individual and the individual's lived experience without looking at the individual as a part of the collective, as if the agency and autonomy is the individual's and in the individuals alone. That itself reeks of privilege. Trauma, patriarchy trauma that our bodies have stored is real. And what is stored in the collective is also stored in our bodies, and what we store in our bodies is what we bring to the collective. And so there is no clearly defined line between the collective and the individual. After Paava Kadhaigal was released that week, I saw at least 3 clients in therapy sessions where we sat with the body as a result of watching what was on screen. And it's not vicarious trauma either. It's something that you will experience on screen and then feel it as if it's vivid and it happened to you. The reason I think it's so powerful is because it may or may not have happened to us in quite that way, but women live in constant fear of that happening to ourselves and our bodies. And that is real. So I just wanted to hold space for any of you that felt similar bodily sensations as a result of seeing that. Sometimes it is sensations, sometimes it is actually stored in our body. It does a lot more. It shows up in the relational field between our intimate relationships. Sometimes we dissociate, sometimes we rage. And we don't realize how deeply entrenched this body reaction and memory is. So I might offer a little bit of a tip before we end. If you find yourself being so very deeply hijacked by the body, a quick tip is to use both your hands and hold your cheek and observe the boundary between your cheek and your hand, noticing the temperature, noticing where the cheek ends and your hands begin. And to continue doing that until we can come back into the body. So this is a little bit of a quick somatic tip for anybody that needs it. Big hugs. I'll see you later.